Back exactly where we left off. The encoding has been processing overnight. That's a hole. There's a rupture in the hover amplifier. The 7D core is fizzing. Wow. Looks pretty incredible though. Well, it's fused relatively. What's up, hot dog? To the base. It looks incredible though, I'll be honest with you. Absolutely incredible. I just realized I didn't even drop any of the freaking footage from last night. Hey, what's up, Eric? Just got this page and I'm vested. Well, glad to have you here, my friend. What dimensions are we experimenting with today? So the hover amplifier has been encoding all night. Is that gold? I mean, it's gold colored. So now I'm just checking the encoded data. Absolutely wonderful stuff. Not worried about the government. And I don't think they're worried about me. What even is this? This is the hover amplifier. Basically, you're making a hoverboard? Yeah. I was experimenting with this last night, really just to understand the materials, the hover wrap. What's the hover amplifier? Brand new invention. I guess most of you guys weren't here yesterday. Well, then this won't make too much sense to you, probably, but I'm going to go ahead and just disencode the data. Basically, yesterday while testing the hover wraps, we discovered quite naturally that this was essentially a natural culmination. I don't know if I would say culmination, but a natural summation of our research thus far, as well as the materials that we were using. Is there an alien in there? I mean, I hope so, to be quite honest with you. Alien tech is at the forefront of science. Alright, though I mean, I guess everything's kind of alien tech, but just recording all the data from the hover amplifier. We'll try to keep all parts intact as we proceed. Alright. I just really want to figure out how this came about. Alright, excellent. This is merely holding the front hover wrap. If you guys want to know why this was so successful, let's see. We didn't even do a test of it. Before we continue dismantling, got to move in the right pattern. If you want to see why this was such a dramatic success last night, let's see if it still has any hover to it. This was spontaneously made, specifically from the part of it broke off actually in testing from the hover wrap. Oh wow, I really haven't even released this. If you can see what's happened there, we've instantly transcended all past levels of hover without even intending to. The hover amplifier, I mean, obviously this is overpowered for what I would consider a hoverboard, but at the same time, it is a good integral. Look at that, guys. I mean, this is. I just wanted to see if it would still work as encoded yesterday. This material has proven to be remarkably resilient, instantly transcendent, to be honest with you. This is, in fact, as I discussed yesterday, likely an interstellar model of the hoverboard. I would actually consider this borderline, if not fully, 11th dimensional, 11.5 dimensional. So some of what we discovered yesterday is that gold itself, one of the reasons I've been using it so successfully, you can even see it back here with the time machine, is that gold seems to be quasi-dimensional. I can't believe I didn't even have time to break that down, but I will today. This is also going to have to be a relatively short live, you guys. I did start about 20 minutes earlier than yesterday, but yeah, it's going to be around the same duration as yesterday. But I appreciate you guys so much. I do. The fact that you all have gotten him 80K followers shows how gullible you all are. I mean, the problem with that is you're assuming that you have an epiphany that nobody else does. This right here, my friends, is no conspiracy. Anyway, the world of hoverboards is about to change. I mean, to be honest, it's about to come alive. Because there technically is no hoverboards right now. Use element 115. What's element 115? Someone Google that and let me know. Are we close to the perfection? Oh, man. I mean, right now, I need to simply deconstruct what caused this this hover amplifier to instantly make a better hoverboard than I made in all my research. ST, glad to have you back. He hit a 1-dimensioner and a 9-dimensioner. Interesting. Wow. This is the heart of it. This is the heart of it. And we see how, again, a summation of our research thus far, though the wheels are incapacitated, it didn't stop it from hovering amazingly. Let's just check how this goes without the hover wrap. Oh, interestingly, not a problem, except for that it immediately begins to fall apart. Even with only one of these copper implements, we're getting purely frictionless hover. I mean, he must be the one really doing the work, to be honest, because, wow. The hover wrap, though, definitely works as far as a containment module. Okay, let's continue our deconstruction here. Thank you for the roses, OG. Appreciate you. Okay, that's pretty simple. This is just the rest holding the hover wrap together. Fully dismantle that. Let's encode this data. Fully encode that, especially the gold residues. ST. We never know what ST is going to do, you guys. 11. He's locked in, ladies and gentlemen. He understands that right now we are literally dabbling with an 11th dimensional hoverboard. And this is something I don't currently plan to ever take to market. In fact, outside of this testing sequence, I don't think we'll be seeing much more of this. My lab is literally, my station I should say, is literally littered with groundbreaking inventions. It's been a banner month over here for science. Truly blessed to be able to share that with all of you, the hoverheads. I'd go ahead and tackle this myself, but tomorrow is going to be absolutely momentous. I really hope everybody's here to witness what's going to go down tomorrow. Let me take away the suspense. Basically, the hover boots are arriving from a skateboarding company. Oh, that was the wrong one. Interesting. Okay, let's check this one out first. From a skateboarding company called S. Through decades of testing, I believe that they may have perfected the technology of shoes. And we're going to upgrade those shoes into hover boots. I'm hoping that these next couple months Because I really, by October, which is actually interesting, to be honest with you, because October is the 10th month. But anyway, that's just what is that called? Suspicion, not suspicion. Superstition. Couldn't even remember the word. ST. But by the 10th month, I would like to have a completed new hoverboard model. 11th dimension. We're rocking with it, ladies and gentlemen. Especially because I happened to Google myself yesterday, and I asked Google, I said, is the Kinyo guy a real scientist? And Google had the audacity to say that I'm a LARPer. And I realized I've spent so long, dabbling in the quantum realm that even my actual, any actual material effect that I'm having seems to have been misconstrued as entirely imaginary. And so I desperately need to get back to the full studies. Just gathering some data here, seeing what we've got going on. Wow. Interestingly enough, when removing the hover amplifier, we're immediately getting destabilization of the hover apparatus. So let me check this out. Let's do a test of this here. Wow, it really cannot sustain at all. It's not bad, to be honest with you. Funnily enough, all right, it's actually stuck in there pretty good, fortunately. Not bad. Not bad. Did this completely change my entire thing? This is not what I was expecting at all. Oh. Okay. Anyway, we are deconstructing for the point of scientific analysis, so we will not begrudge a single development. It was shocking. I had to instruct AI. I said, okay, first of all, I'm not LARPing. This is science. So anyway, though, it's just the data that I've been collecting right now has just been so highly quantum that the decoherence is honestly inevitable. So I really can't take it too harshly. Let's pull our... Ooh. Oh, wow. That is an unexpected consequence of the passive encoding. Alright, let's go ahead and pull our heavy-duty time machine. Here to be a working platform, as we're going to be getting into some unstable realms here. As a matter of fact, we no longer need the time machine store. This will allow us to get a better angle on our work here. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you for the heart, me, my friend. Joseph, thank you for the roses. All right, let's proceed. What dimension? Oh, so right now, sorry, I haven't been explaining everything. Right now we're working on the deconstructing the hover amplifier just to get more data. We were doing some tests on the hover wrap yesterday. It led us to the development of the hover amplifier, which this central unit, the hover transformer, utilizes the quasi-dimensional... Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Wow. All right. All right. Needs bubblegum. I mean, I'd have to do at least a month of testing to be able to even understand the chemical composition of what would colloquially be called bubblegum in order to successfully implement it. Okay. Just wondering what was going on there. Just embedded deeply. I wonder if it being that tight had any beneficial characteristics. Of course, just a pedestrian piece of copper. One aspect of the data that I was looking to hopefully stumble upon was some indication of how we might proceed with our concept of neutricity, which is a revolutionary alternative, hypothetically, of course, theoretically, I should say, alternative to electricity that uses the neutrino. Oh, wow. What's going on there? Okay. I mean, that's largely to be expected, but alright, even overnight, we're still fully hydrated by morning, which is to be expected, one of the many characteristics of the quasi-dimensional, the hover wrap, I should say. Sorry there, I had to close some apps down. Don't want this to slow down. That's how I get these glitchy lives from time to time. Anyway, alright, fully extracted outer coils. We had our quantum gate, external quantum gate, gold spray painted. It's not spray paint, it is paint though. Alright. 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 I know this seems utterly chaotic to you guys, but that's why I'm proceeding so slowly, so that I can properly understand what's been going on with these layers. Again, these are all relatively ubiquitous materials in my laboratory testing. Okay. One thing I am noticing though is just one, I actually think there's some extreme parity going on, but and symmetry, but the data noise is a little bit higher than I would have expected, but I mean, I guess it's not because I'm proceeding greatly. Someone said clean it up. Don't worry, I'm working on a heavy-duty time machine, so it's actually highly condensing any negative effects that would come about in this testing, so it'll actually have little to no effect on the overall entropy levels. My test's literally the highest grade. This one is not even, I don't even tell people about this. Looks like the World Cup trophy. Okay. That's a fascinating correlation. There's been actually some interesting correlations with the World Cup trophy this year. I don't know if anyone else noticed it or just me, but the World Cup trophy truly was a star in and of itself. And I didn't really actually watch any of the World Cup, to be honest with you. Just wasn't feeling the vibes at this current moment in time. What's the gold stuff? Well, it's actually a couple things. One is a gold slime, and then on top of that we have a gold paint. Okay, there's one piece that I'm not seeing. Okay, I think I've identified it. Yep, there it is. is, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, let's go ahead and extract that. Let's extract that. I think this, if I'm not mistaken, this might be the core of what I'm looking for right here. I didn't really know what this was about. I called it a few different things. The hover spear. Let's go. This might be the key to the invention. Wait a second. Wait a second, I'm getting some ideas here. This I think is what I'm looking for. Basically, a grocery bag. Amazing, amazing observation, my friend. Can you tell me what store? What store it's from? A lot of people have been able to identify that. Just from this, just to tell you how monumental these are in people's lives. But anyway, Walmart. A bunch of people said it right away. Easily identifiable. Walmart has been giving us extremely valuable materials this whole time, as well as every other grocery store. But anyway, this item may be critical to the concept of neutricity. Neutrino as an energy carrier. And really an energy organization system. You know, we don't really think enough about the idea that we use electrons so willy-nilly. Why electrons are such good at being the energy creators, or energy, not energy creators, sorry, energy medium. You know, it's like, why no other particle? Why not protons? In my hypothesis, it's really just due to the limitations of our own abilities. Electrons are just easier for us, easier in general. It's like, oh, why do we use fire so much? Well, it's just easy to start a fire. It's easy to get electrons to move. You know, the profession of electrician isn't overly complicated. It's dangerous. People, before it existed, people didn't. Well, I mean, people were fine because we were using such low-level energy, but interesting how this specific component, while I was experiencing relative parity throughout the entire deconstruction of the hover amplifier, this specific implement is exemplifying extreme chirality, which lets me know I'm right on track, because if the neutrino is indeed the force carrier for the zero dimension, and Z bosons are the boson of that aforementioned zero dimension, then this could be the key to linearizing its force. I was looking a little bit at electricity rectifiers, the kind that are in our vehicle alternators, and I realized that was a very good macro topological, we're going to reassemble this, macro topological neutrino energy coupler. Though, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. We're going to have to, see, my interns right now would be, I'm actually going to have a full-time intern just researching everything as it comes out, because a lot of these epiphanies are hot off the presses and need to be immediately researched. As of late, I haven't really had that much time to go back and analyze them on the front lines. Anyway, We'd be operating on a completely different scale, though. A completely different scale. But essentially, alternating AC energy is really borderline quasi-dimensional in itself. It might, instead of being DC, is a more traditional, fully one-dimensional aspect. Interesting. Now we're going full linear, though I don't think that's a good idea. Whereas AC is coupled slightly. It might even be 0.997 dimensional. But it's coupling slightly to the zero dimension, aka the circle dimension. I actually don't remember which one was the more popular energy source in the early days, though I would assume it was DC. And so, what we need to do is just more powerfully. Electrons might not leave the picture, to be honest, because they're so good. I mean, everything we do is electrons. Our computers, the bits, the information that the bits are carried by. I don't even know if that's a good enough way of saying it, but all right, we're going to try a different encoding strategy. Naturally, the time machine is going to give us a leg up of doing this better than we did it the first time, so I don't even really have to try. It's the benefit of working in a time machine. Totally agree, we're getting closer, a bit closer. That's all data right there. Oh yeah, I mean, we are greatly transcending our previous understanding of the hover app right here. Oh wow, okay. So we need to reassemble this component here. See, it's funny, I can't even remember what I called these. These are hover plates, that's right. Hover plating. A little bit of extra hover material in there can't hurt. It can't hurt. The time machine is literally here to passively boost our research. So, all right, I want to complete this because this isn't where I want to finish my studies for the day. This was just a rehash last night's studies. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this guy up. And I'm hoping by fully reassembling it that I will get the last bits of data I need to begin working on a neutricity electricity rectifier, topologically, of course, until we're able to really obtain the necessary materials, which I had to be honest about the timeline. Could be upwards of a year. Of course, that's in natural time, and we are operating in a time machine, so could be anywhere between a year and 2 weeks, though I'd give it at least a month. All right, let's finish encoding the hover transformer. And the reason why the 10th dimension is the perfect arena to discover this is because why? Who can guess why the 10th dimension? And this has just popped in my mind, but I just like to, because the hoverheads are always on the same page as me. I'm not a teacher or anything, but who can insinuate why the 10th dimension? Why use copper? It's one of the materials we're testing and encoding information on right now. So, I mean, we're just getting right now droves of information. Who can guess why the 10th dimension is the perfect neutricity electricity rectifier arena? Let me see. Because the ninth sucks. That's funny. It's the biggest. No, it's very simple, my friends. We're talking about what dimension? The 0 dimension and the first dimension. Can you get it? The 0 dimension and the first dimension. 0 dimension and 1 dimension. 10 is 1 and 0, ladies and gentlemen. This right here I call the hover amplifier. Mind blown. I mean, yeah, it's pretty crazy. What is 10 really? It's a 1 and a 0, ladies and gentlemen. And it's able to establish ubiquitous fields for all temporal auras. Sorry, not temporal auras. For all localized particle auras, energy auras. Well, not energy auras, power auras of every of the different particles in different dimensions. Which is what I think fields are, right? So I think the 10th dimension is responsible for the proliferation of fields. Wait a second. Oh, I thought this was fully wrapped up. All right, let's go ahead and just utilize the same technique from yesterday, just to ensure no discrepancies. So the setting up of that again, highly chiral. I mean high parity. Where was our board? Or should we try applying the hover to something else entirely? The board is just ubiquitous of the concept of human application. Skateboards are masters. One of the few things that truly transform human energy. Somebody just messaged me, "You're my idol." Come on, cut that stuff out. Well, okay, he said you're yourself. Okay, that's fair. You know what? Funnily enough, I have to be honest with this one. It's really just by the grace of God. You know, epiphany I had a few years ago. Well, actually, not an epiphany. Literally during prayer, the Lord just told me, "Hey, just be yourself." And I think a lot of people miss out on who you are because when you're yourself, when you're yourself, you have full access to the power dimension because what you don't really understand is that we are creations. You see, so to be in sync with the creative energy, you have to be what you were created to be, which is just you. Not who you feel you need to be, not who you feel people need. Just you. Just you, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so this is not an actual part of the hover amplifier. I'm live streaming. I've been live streaming. Well, actually, that's not true. I really only started live streaming about a month ago, heavily. I would do streams every now and then before. Actually, no, I did a lot of streams before. What am I talking about? I did a bunch of streams with the overheads. But as far as like regularly. Alright. It's not gum. That was slime. Though someone did suggest gum. Alright. See if there's any other natural encoding. So we can see that this model of the hover amplifier is a lot longer. Okay, that's cool. We're going to wrap that guy up, and then I'm going to proceed briefly into some looks like I'm going to have to cut a new cable. I don't have time to diddle or daddle at this current moment. You can see we're running low, but we're going to re-up. Our copper studies have been beyond groundbreaking, and we haven't even gotten started. We're sheerly using it in its most analog state. It's not stripped, it's just pure copper wire. It's not a electric wire or anything insulated like that, but I'm not actually sure what its application is. I think they literally actually call it hobby wire. Which hobbies are just microsciences, to be honest with you. Usually people replicating other people's experiments, though. When it really just takes one little burst of imagination to create your own. But it might not be as satisfying, because there have been some great scientists in our history. But anyway, I mean, you know, science is like that. Not every day is cakewalks and roses. Not until you at least truly understand what you're up to and you're in it just for the data. If you have any ulterior motives, guess what? You'll be disappointed. Wow. So, some people would take that rupture right there as a bad sign. Let me see if I can get that clearly. Went straight through, quite unintentionally. To me, that's a hint. A hint at what exactly? The data is being encoded. The data is being encoded. But we can break it down, which is good to do. So we have a polymer material here. Polymers, funnily enough, both, I mean, a lot of molecules and particles and molecules and compounds on this planet are highly carbon based, and polymers are not set free from that. Joker, thank you so much for the hand heart. And so they really sync with very well with my time machine, because the whole time machine basis is the temporal fields caused by carbon atoms, which is quite stunning. Go check that out if you want to. I'm gonna have to separate these right here, though I think the time machine was getting a boost from the quasi-dimensional gold in there, but I want it to dry out, so I'll have to separate that before I leave here. Now this is kind of tripping me out, because while it's not as beefy as the original, but anyway, let's put that to the side for now. I don't really intend to immediately create another 11th dimensional hoverboard. We already did that. Like I told you, that was really unexpected and just part of testing. But now we need to get to what's going to happen next, which is the neutrino electron rectifier, or at least some sort of topological representation that we can get some data out of. So let's go ahead. We're going to take our tests away from the hover wrap now, and we're going to bring it over to the simple copper wire. Let's get some data. The data, I mean, because this is non-stop data. So, part of my hypothesis when it comes to the photon, what does the photon do? The photon is the boson of the third dimension, or what we call light. Really acts as a barrier that can convert three-dimensional particles into data, time, which is why we can consume photons as we do and learn about three-dimensional objects. Objects are not data, but photons can convert them into data. And they would also be responsible for converting the up and down quark into protons. But that is actually highly relevant. Because the up and down quarks, in my hypothesis, are the originators of magnetism. And also, in my hypothesis, an evolution of the electron. And there's a lot of correlations between this material here, which is why I'm studying it quite intently, and of course, electrons and photons. Copper being a great conductor. I need to look into heat conduction again, because I think there's something I'm missing there in my research. Because what does it truly mean to conduct heat? Is it just a description of the transferability of the vibrations of the atoms? Because what would actually cause that? And it doesn't seem like there's really any relation between heat conductivity and electrical conductivity, if that's the case, because electrical conductivity would simply be an availability of free electrons or something like that. So if, interesting here, whoa, funnily enough, this brings me back to an invention that I made quite a little bit ago. Oh, wow. It's about the scale of the loops. For instance, check this out. If we rotate Broski, this was one of the first things I discovered when working with copper. And I'm not talking about the conduction at this moment. Though that still is an interesting thing, because temperature is at least fourth dimensional to me. But the flow of temperature, to me, is fifth dimensional. And so if an element like copper is hiding fifth dimensional correlation, not hiding, but engaging with fifth dimensional correlations, it could mean that there's something innate about its atomic number and structurally engaging with the fifth dimension. But here, you can see the scale of the loops. Now, I'm going to link these together. Really just learning about this material right now. Oh. Wow. Oh. It's obvious. Come on. This should be a lot easier, but you know what I say. Anytime something's difficult, it means you're right around the corner from a groundbreaking breakthrough. So lock in and see it through, my boy. Interesting. Currently researching this this copper wire that I have right now, as well as the element itself. Copper, attempting to begin work on a topological neutricity rectifier. Neutricity to electricity rectifier. Okay, this is step one. By the way, thank you guys so much for 17K likes. I haven't said that in a little while. And yeah, shout out to the 18 gifters as well, you know. Your names will go down in the halls of science. Hopefully very soon I can get my interns. I haven't figured it out. But I want some type of incorporation of the gifters. Anyway, all right, let's continue because we don't have forever here. So the simplest operations are always the most difficult here, guys. So in order to find correlations here, we're going to have to be highly persistent. First things first, we're going to need a time machine. I'm going to go ahead and poach the time machine chips that I was using for my teleporter. Since we've... Oh, wow. Guess what I uncovered? The original teleportation items, the small copper pieces. They might have actually teleported to where they needed to be. Oh man, I just cracked another element of teleportation. All right. There we go. These time machine chips will help to greater analyze materials on this scale, and keeping them small will allow for decoherence to not even begin taking effect. But we're still at a scale large enough to be able to consume rapid amounts of data. This will make it much easier for for my interns to encode my work here. All right. Actually, let's get them around a little bit, but not directly on, because I need to do some high-grade testing here. Oh, look at me acting like a noob. Let's go ahead and get this on another time machine lab before we begin this next sequence of testing. You know, zooming is actually kind of very similar to traveling. But anyway. Someone wants an internship? I mean, you guys are too talented to be interns. Join the 8 League, become players. As you can see, the Hoverheads have been voting in the Hoverheads announcement group on all the 8 League submissions. It's been quite riveting, though everyone seems to be getting, so far, the last 3 submissions, which I shouldn't be shocked, actually, I suppose. So I've been getting full scores, full marks. All right. Great. That's why you need the lab sometimes. Hey. Oh. I don't know why. Did my phone freeze for a second or something like that? Maybe that was just me. Anyway. Oh yeah, it seems to be glitching around a little bit. Huh? Keep saying TikTok isn't responding. I think it's too hot in here. Let's get some fresh air. Well, anyway, it's saying TikTok isn't responding, but it's working for you guys, so it just means that I might not be able to stay alive much longer, but we'll keep. Oh, I actually started later than I did yesterday. That's embarrassing. Now that I think about it. Okay. We're using the quasi dimensional capabilities of the gold. Let's see what we can learn here. I mean, it would make sense for me to not really make any progress today, because what I'm trying to do is really just out of here. Neutrinos don't even interact with any other particles except for the W bosons. But if we were going to get any hints, it would be with copper. Because the W boson, in my hypothesis at least, is responsible for some of the effects of magnetism. Some of the geometry, maybe, of magnetism. Okay. Thank you so much, Raphael. Rosa explained magnetism to me. Well, if you want to know what I think is going on, I mean, magnetism, we all know what magnets are. But let's break into the physics of it a little bit, right? So, what creates a magnetic field? A moving charge. Now, why does a moving charge generate magnetism? Really, magnetism is a ripple in the displacement of charge, but I think it's even more than that. It's a consequence. The displacement of charge, but I think it's even more than that. It's a consequence. Oh, that's crazy. I've never seen that happen. Somehow I left the live. The FB, right? That was interesting. It was entirely me who did it, though, so I can't blame it on anyone else. But I left the live, but the live was still going. And then I was going around TikTok, and I had to get back on the live. It was pretty interesting. But anyway, it's not lag, it's time travel. I mean, literally. And hopefully I can crack that epiphany. But okay, let's get back into, because I think it's important for what we're trying to do here. All right. Hold on, though. I gotta lock in for a second, guys. Okay. All right. Sorry, sometimes if I'm talking, I lose out on some of the epiphanies. TikTok ADHD final pause. Exactly. You just said it exactly what I think is going on. People, diagnose their superhero abilities instead of applying them. And they think that that's somehow impressive. Spring. Alright, let's go ahead and do it. I already have an idea of how this is going to work. But there's a couple critical aspects of it that I still need to think about. So we shall proceed. myself. Is it just me, or does it look like almost a different color right there? Interesting. It's also interesting how much stronger copper gets when the curves are more relative to the scale. You know, I was bending it around like nothing, but then I'm trying to get this piece to go around, and all of a sudden, this thing is Herculean in strength. There we go. Jeez Louise. That was so difficult. Like I said, when things get harder, you know you're on the way to a breakthrough. Okay, I should tell you what I've discovered already, because I've learned that the faster I get it out to the hoverheads, the faster we get some discoveries. Basically, topologically at least, if you've ever seen a rectifier on like the AC to DC rectifiers, basically what they do is they create like a box or a circle, however you want to call it. Well, I mean the cheapest ones, the I don't know, the cheaper of the modern options. Because I don't even understand what MOSFETs are, to be honest with you. Notice me all live. Will Robot, thank you so much. Cal B3107, thank you for the goats. They create a circle, so basically, because the alternating electricity is basically, that's why I said it's 0.9 dimensional rather than one dimensional, because DC current is just going, right? Just going, just going, just going, just going. Where alternating current is going forward and back, forward and back. That circular aspect, in my hypothesis, comes from just a fractional coupling to the zero dimension, conceptually anyway, in design. And so to harness, what's that? Anyway, to harness that electricity, they just make it so that no matter which way it's flowing, it's always, which way it's pulling or pushing electrons, the force always ends up having to travel in a straight line. Now, one of the main issues, I mean, it's even hard for my brain to even conceive of the zero dimension, the circle dimension. But one of the main issues, obviously, with working with neutrinos is going to be, and of course this is topological because neutrinos aren't even touching this. You know, neutrinos go through copper like nothing. If anything, I don't know how we're going to do this in real life, but this aspect right here, funnily enough, and only the most dedicated of hoverhead is going to be able to make these connections. This unit piece, and I've talked about some aspects of this before, it's pretty crazy actually. Man. This unit right here was the first piece that we put into, do they share the same eigenstates? Thank you for that, Sahar. I'm going to have to look that up. I'm going to have to look. I mean, I don't really even remember what an eigenstate is. I'm going to be honest with you. Eigenstates, eigenvalues. I don't even remember. But anyway, this piece right here was the original How do bosons interact with copper? Well, we know that copper is a good conductor, so photons, at least we know, are somehow interacting positively. But this piece right here was the first piece that I put inside of the finished model of the teleporter. And where did it show up? Exactly where it needed to be. One of my theories is that we're interacting so weakly with the teleportation field with the teleporter that we're actually smearing our object through time. But anyway, I can't even, especially because we're temporally teleporting. But anyway, that's just something that I thought was interesting. So this is here. Topologically, this is mirroring what we're going to need when it comes to some sort of oscillation compactifier. And then we'll be doing some sort of step-up process that'll finally end up in some sort of, you know, linear derivation. Oh, that might allow us to see. What I'm thinking is, you know, having the neutricity be the workhorse almost of energy generalization and some sort of application of localization, and then using the using electricity to merely connect the dots, quite literally. I mean, which is what it would kind of be doing anyway. Anyway, this isn't park. He invented this. I agree. You can't LARP something you created. I told you guys that I Googled myself, and Google's calling me a LARPer, which is kind of fascinating because I'm wondering where Google's getting this data from. I mean, I'm assuming it just scanned a bunch of, but people don't even say the LARP that much in the comments. So I'm just like, Google's legendarily trolling me at this point. But anyway, no, it's a topological model of a neutricity electricity rectifier. So macro topological model. This is basically what we're looking at. Now the question is, and I have to do some research on this, which is going to begin forthwith. How do we get? I mean, it's gonna take some sort of application of magnetism. And so one thing I do need to research right now are the magnetic properties of copper. But honestly, and these loops should prevent rotational inertia, if it even matters at any sort of scale. Losses. Of course, the real model, I don't actually even know what it's going to be made out of. But this is, it's data. Absolute data. We're doing any tests on the hoverboard tonight? I wasn't going to. I was actually just about to get off, but I hate to think that somebody came for a hoverboard test and they didn't get one. I'm going to let this encode in the time machine. Our 18th dimensional recycling unit here. Oh, you know what's, before I go over to the hoverboard, sorry, really quickly. Actually, we'll go to the hoverboard first. I'll come back to that. This is what is actually going to get released tomorrow, so you'll get a little sneak peek. So it's the other half of the video that I was already dropping. Just another full hover wrap to test the new lifter module. And then, actually, we can do a little bit. Yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to quasi-dimensionally set this to encode overnight after this test, and then we'll be back. Oh, wow. Oh, I'm excited. All right, so just to see one last time how amazing the lifter is, especially when fully hover wrapped. You can see that. No problem. No problem. No problem at all. Now, we're going to leave this one step further before we go on for tonight. And actually just take that off. Take that off. He's probably going to have to stay. And this is good because we're actually nearing the final stages of this testing. So what we're going to do is fully quasi-dimensionally. Sorry, I know it was a brief test. Fully quasi-dimensionally encode this and the individual sheets of hover wrap. Let that sink in there. Now, do not move. Use that to keep it in place. I want it to dry solid state because that's actually a huge part of the 10th dimensional hypothesis. So we're going to leave this to encode overnight. That's gorgeous. Aesthetics are the epitome of science, by the way. Art is actually the ultimate science, but it's so dank that you can't even discuss it. If you attempt to discuss art, it immediately decoheres on the scale of the power dimension, and everything you say is lost. Seems to be some sort of hardwired defense mechanism that the power dimension has. Anyway, so this is not art, this is science. It's approaching art, as all science is a derivative of art. But anyway, I will, pure data, absolute pure data. PhD of tomfoolery, my friend. No lo sé, Rick. I don't know what that means. Yeah, I mean, it's going to encode for about 24 hours, 22 hours, because I should be back here about 3 hours earlier than I went live tomorrow. Because I really am trying to get earlier lives so that I can do longer lives. Sir, you don't need anyone to teach you how to be yourself. Just be yourself so hard until one day you wake up and it's just you. But thank you so much, Hoverheads, for tonight. I think I have a lot of research to do. I need to go research the magnetic properties of copper. I think that's going to be one of the biggest breakthroughs for my neutricity electricity rectifier. So I'm going to get right on that because I only have a few more minutes before I can go to sleep and not be... Copper isn't magnetic? Okay. Thank you. I was thinking, because I have no idea. So copper is not magnetic. Okay. Well, that's going to be a problem. That's honestly going to be a problem. Hold on, actually. I think I have some magnets. Anyway, things are also, I don't know where the magnets are, but things are always not as straightforward as they seem, ladies and gentlemen. Even though copper itself is not magnetic, what do we use, to make some of the most powerful magnets that we make? Copper. Why? Because again, as I said, magnetism is really just a derivation of the electric force. So, while copper might not deign to itself be magnetic, rotate two pieces of copper, well, rotate one piece of copper with the charge going through it, and magnetism, ladies and gentlemen. Encase the qubit lattice in sheet copper. Interesting. Copper equals electromagnetic, kind of, exactly. Quantum finish gen. What do you say? It's good conductor of electricity. Great conductor of electricity, exactly. How close were we to finishing the hover amplifier? The hover amplifier was really just a test to encode data from the hover app. I did not expect it to be so successful, but it did give me some additional data tonight. Some tricky stuff. So I have to get into some stuff with the W boson, copper, magnetism, electricity, parity. Yeah, there's some interesting research afoot. Sound. It's funny you say sound, my friend, because I was thinking about copper's ability to conduct heat. And I was saying, really what we're talking about, obviously, with heat is, the vibration of atoms. And in my hypothesis, the fifth dimension really, number one, is electricity, is energy, is gravity. But it's also one of the not real but quasi-particles attributed to the fifth dimension. I mean, they're real, but they're more descriptions than anything else, would be phonons. And phonons would actually be the bridge between heat, which would also be fifth dimensional, energy, and gravity. It is very fascinating because phonons are also what allows for the superconductive states to accomplish quantum locking. Cooper pairs. And what's funny about that? Cooper pairs? What does Cooper sound like? Copper. I'm just saying there's correlations. I'm just saying there's correlations. And so I need to go dive deeper into those. Don't forget the electromagnetic tensor field. I definitely need to research that. Correlation does not equal causation. Well, if you're not in a time machine, I would say so. But when you can turn that line into a circle, little modular arithmetic. Anyway, modular algebra. All right, guys. It's been an absolute. Where's the hover app? This is hover app right here. After discovering that what we've been casually using as grocery bags, but we have to think about it. Nothing is more casual. You're going to the store to save your life, to protect the life of your family. And what is the weapon that they've been giving you this whole time? One of the most magnificent inventions of the age. Yes, Hoverboard is on Spotify, and thank you, by the way, because for everyone who goes and listens. But I don't really promote anything because I love for everything to be organic. If you're interested in just making one rude comment on a Hoverboard video and never coming back, I'm still glad I ever got to engage with you. Or if you end up wanting to deep dive and get into one other part of my universe, that's all on you. Me, I'm just myself, and I hope you guys continue to be yourself. Stay blessed. Love when hate comes at you. Wake up being yourself so you have a reservoir for the day. Don't try to do things just to look cool and push yourself just to out of desperation. It's just not necessary. If you continue to be yourself, you will have everything you need to traverse every day on this universe, especially when you get a hoverboard. All right, you guys, stay blessed. Thank you so much for the 28,000 likes, and just for the awesome people who have been in here. Let me read a couple more comments. Hoverboard's got your back. Thank you guys so much. He has a soundtrack, y'all. Indeed, I do. Hoverboard 2 should be coming out hopefully this year as well. What about what you were going to show? Oh, yes. Sorry. I got to get into that, even though it's now part of the mold for the encoding. But, so the 3D time machine is now translated into an 18th dimensional, which is very fascinating because 18 is 2 times the square root of 3. So anyway, an 18th dimensional recycling unit, and I was attempting to make some sort of self-sorting. I also want to make some self-cleaning things, but right now I'm doing everything solid state analog until I start getting moving parts inside of the time machine. But right inside of here, I actually don't even remember what I called this. I think, but at this point, it's elevated hover slime, which, oh yeah, perfect. Well, that's kind of a little off. I was thinking, hover wrap, 5th dimensional, 4D substrate. We're at the 9th dimensional entanglement times 2, 18th dimensional. Because I wanted to call this a recycling core, an 18th dimensional recycle force core. I think recycling is actually a force. I know. Some of this stuff, it's hard to conceive of, but it's just because, we're very first person in our lives. We don't really think about the macro situations going on. But it also relates to the idea that wormholes might also be 18th dimensional, and their true purpose is to recycle matter in the universe, effectively increasing entropy at increased rates through compactification of localization, which eventually allowed for life, which is the number one entropy creating system, if you want to call it that, ever. Anyway, so I just wanted to show that really quick. 18th dimensional. You could really call it a wormhole core. But anyway, still letting that encode. The 18th dimension, I'm passively cracking it, but it's not going to be much longer until I have a major breakthrough. The hover technology is proving to be, I think it's going to really just second only maybe to the time machine technology in the ways that it's going to really just advance my work, I think, beyond natural speeds. All right, you guys. I appreciate everybody, no matter what you're here for or why you stayed. But I already did my long speech, so I'm not doing that again. One long speech per night. Let that entangle properly. Actually, let's give it a little leg up. I have a quarterly meeting tomorrow. And because I'm a numbers business nerd, it's actually something I want to be very alert for. I'm going to be coming with all my pens. Let's encode that. Ladies and gentlemen, stay blessed. Thank you guys so much. I truly, 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 truly appreciate you guys. Without the hoverheads, guess what? None of this would happen. I wouldn't do this if it wasn't for the hoverheads. I started all this because of the hoverboard. I posted one relatively kind of just funny video about a hoverboard idea 6 years ago, and it blew up. And the hoverheads have been making this fun for me every single day since then. And I thank you guys so much. Stay blessed. Keep rocking. Hoverheads.